Welcome back to another episode of Feathers and Field Goals. I'm your host, Bryce Leslie, and as you can tell, I'm solo this week. Not for any reason other than today's recording. Today's day of recording is a Monday. The first release of this episode will be out on a Tuesday, and if you're listening to this, it's not a surprise to see our spotlighted program is softball, who will be hosting the Conference USA tournament starting on Wednesday. So I had to be very strategic. This brought me back to weekday CUSA for Delaware football this past year. Schedule's busy on my end on Mondays and Tuesdays, so just had to really crunch this in and get this out in time before first pitch in Newark for the Conference USA tournament. Had to be very strategic and getting interviews in when it worked for them and me, and get it passed off to Brody in time to get it out. I look forward to getting back on with Dan and Brody on our next episode in a week or two. For this one, Delaware Softball head coach Jen Steele and senior captains Katie Scheivert, Sydney Shaffer will be joining to talk about the 2026 regular season, the preview of the conference tournament, and some reflection on what Katie and Sydney have meant to the program, and vice versa, how much the program and each other meant to Katie and Sydney. So this is going to be a really fun one. So let me hit on our agenda points before we get into our slate for Delaware softball this week. So I'm super excited to get into it. Okay, the first one is a recap from last week, Delaware women's lacrosse. We got to talk to head coach Amy Altig and senior attacker Jacqueline Marzell, and both great interviews. They went down to Jacksonville, unfortunately fell in the ASUN Championship 16-11 to the host, Jacksonville. They won 10-4 against Lindenwood in the semifinals, to the semifinals, into the finals. The process of getting to the championship was unfortunate. The game was supposed to start at 1, but then it was moved up the night before to 11 for impending weather. And it got to 11. Unfortunately, was delayed a little past 12 from weather. So the game start jumped all over the place for the Hens and the Dolphins. Both sides had to deal with that and the wet conditions throughout it. Just because there'd be breaks in the rain, was still a wet field and wet conditions. All around, the whole weekend was gross weather, rainy, windy, lightning. This group battled. The first half, the Hens battled, but the Dolphins just built too comfortable of a lead to hold on. Delaware, if you remember the regular season game, we talked a little bit. Delaware was up, and then Jacksonville went on a run and took the lead themselves. But in the third quarter, specifically, Delaware fought back and gained control of that one that came down to the end. Unfortunately, in this one, in Jacksonville, every time that Delaware got a goal or two, Jacksonville would counter. So it was an unfortunate game. A lot to be proud of for the Blue Hens on the season. A program-breaking season. Shout out to head coach Amy Altig. Shout out to friend of the show, Jacqueline Marzell, and the rest of the seniors for their hard work. The best is yet to come for women's lacrosse. The selection show was out yesterday. Jacksonville will play number 8 Colorado in Boulder for their first game. That would have been a funny placement for Delaware in hindsight, thinking about their football trip out there this past fall. Excited for the future of women's lacrosse. They have some underclassmen that'll be there and continue to build off of it. They've shown time and time again of being able to land high major power school transfers to bring them in, and they've recruited really well out of high school as well. So head coach Amy Altig has this program on the right trajectory, and I expect 2027 to be as successful. So it'll be exciting to get there when we do. Men's lacrosse, we talked about it last week. Unfortunately, missed the Atlantic 10 tournament. There were some honors given out from the time of recording to now. Our time recording last week to now. Nick Cohen, Tyler Owings, and Brendan Powers all received A10 All-Conference second team honors. And then a trio on the A10 All-Rookie team as well. Face-off Scott Connie, Keegan Lathrop, and goaltender Colton Silverstein. So some good honors there. I think the biggest question mark heading into this past season was goalie and face-off. And it seems like with Connie and Silverstein that the program is going to be set up nicely in those spots moving forward. My biggest question mark heading into this upcoming one is how can the offense get faster, more accurate on long-range shots to get back to the elite production that we've seen the team that was able to make it run in the NCAA tournament a few years ago. So the A10 side, Richmond beat St. Joe's in the finals to claim the number 4 overall seed and will play Duke in the first round. They'll get to host the ACC side, which is a big opportunity for them and for the A10. From the CAA, Stony Brook upset Towson in that championship. So a new face representing our old conference. So that'll be interesting to see. Of course, Delaware is hosting an NCAA tournament game. So that will also be interesting to see as well. A huge moment for the school of getting in that opportunity to host. So as well, off season, that'll, unlike the women's, this is going to be a big one. Like the women's, going to be a big one coming up, but got to find a way to be more successful year two in the A10. Basketball side, we recorded transfer portal updates last week, and I knew moves were coming for both the men's and women's, but just didn't know when. And of course, right when we ended recording within 24 hours, there was a lot of news hit, especially on the men's side. The men's program has added a good amount so far. We talked about Devin Dinkins from Manhattan last week, averaged 12 points per game and just under 3 assists for the MAAC, that version of the MAC conference. And then Chuck Bailey, the third 6'4" Nevada guard who had a great freshman year at Evansville out of the Missouri Valley and was an impact player in the rotation for Nevada last year, who made a solid run in the NIT. And so I think you're looking at your starting backcourt right there of Devin Dinkins, Chuck Bailey, but Bailey can also play the three, another wing added for the Blue Hens. And this fits the mold that we talked about: the John Camdens, the Niles Lanes, the Jair Davis, the Christian Bliss, the Justin Fernandez. Delaware landed Maryland first, Georgetown transferred Deshaun Harris Smith, a 6'5" guard who is a big wing, was a top 30 recruit out of his high school class in 2023. It's going to be an exciting addition for the Blue Hens. And we've seen a lot of these players from high majors drop down and find a lot of comfort on the offense side of the ball. And I think DHS is going to have a big opportunity in Newark to do the same. So this is definitely a headlining move. It's going to be a big piece for the Hens next season. And DHS added a big in the portal. St. Joe's 7-foot center, Steven Solano, averaged 2 points over a rebound in 8 games last season. And both freshman and sophomore seasons at St. Joe's, Solano had some injury issues and couldn't find a full season on the court. So hoping getting to Newark and have a successful season. This is the first 7-foot big man they've had in a long time in the program. So hoping defensive anchor in the middle can be great. We talked about with Jordan Skolnick before the portal window opened. They have to get more size down low and they have to get more ball handlers. And with Dinkins, they did that. Bailey can also handle the ball. And then Solano coming into the front court. And then they added Boston College 6'3" guard Nick Petronio, who was a highly touted recruit, a 3-star recruit, I believe, that headed to Boston College. Unfortunately missed the first 2 seasons at BC. The first year was for a torn ACL that happened, I believe, in high school that leaked into freshman year. So it was a redshirt year. And then last year tore the other ACL. So 2 seasons hasn't been on the court. Maybe a little bit different when you're thinking of a Christian Bliss that wasn't on the court for 2 years at Virginia. There was an injury in year 2 there. Year 1 was just a true redshirt after reclassing up. But you're hoping, of course, we just talked about Solano being injured, and all we know about all the Hens injuries that happened last year, but you're hoping it can click here. He's a really solid shooter, Nick, and hopefully there's going to be opportunity to shine down in Newark next season up from Massachusetts. And another ad is Morgan State. He's a 6'7" wing. I think he's going to be playing that 4 spot where he can stretch the floor a little bit for the Hens. He averaged 7.3 points per game and 3.6 rebounds per game in 29 games for the Bears in the MEAC this past season. Came up from the non-D1 level his first 2 years and is coming to Newark for year 4. You see 7.3 points per game. The last 6 games of his past season at Morgan State averaged over 16 points per game. So I think that's where the program is projecting to get a player that peaked at the right time in his first year of Division I basketball. You're thinking he's going to be surrounded by better players in Newark next season than he was this past one, and you're hoping can play a role, can stretch the floor, can guard multiple positions on the defensive side of the ball. So those are your portal additions so far. I think my last time I updated our site, it's fully updated now, but Lance Piper also is not on the updated version of the roster for 2026-27. So there's 2 spots remaining on the team moving forward. You have 4 returners: Jameel Brown, Alex Kazanecki, Mason Ellison, and Jaden Taylor. And then you have your 7 additions so far in Sean Harris-Smith, Chuck Bailey III, Devin Dinkins, Steven Solano, Eugene Alvin from Morgan State, Nick Petronio from Boston College, and Jafet Valencia from high school from the DMV area. So 2 spots remaining. I expect both to go to the front court, but time will tell for the men's side. Let me get to my women's basketball team page. We know about Francie Ulysses, who was added from Longwood. And then Sanaya Littlejohn, Danielle Mattis from George Mason and Loyola Chicago. They both were freshmen last year and made impacts off the bench. And then the big addition from the women's side this past week was Iowa point guard transfer Kenise Johnson. Now, this is when I talk about Kristen Blisser. This is what I'm hoping to see for the men's side. Kenise Johnson was a big-time recruit. We know the Iowa program very well. Caitlin Clark and their runs that they made and from the Big Ten into the NCAA tournament. And Kenise Johnson's going to get the ball in her hands immediately. She's going to get a big opportunity in Newark next season. Also dealt with an injury a couple years ago, but got back on the court last season, and big-time addition. I know Delaware definitely beat out many suitors that were after Kenise. So excited about this. More to come as well for the women's side. I'm looking at the returners. There's 5 on the list. Safi Kalibo, Kendall Scott, who's working back from her injury early last season, Gianna Johnson, Ava Andrews, and Ella Stone. And then you have 4 new additions. So you're still looking about 6 spots remaining for the women. So 2 for the men, 6 for the women. Still a lot to go for basketball portal updates. But now let's get into the focus of the week, Conference USA softball tournament preview. I guess Delaware baseball had their first winning sweep in the regular season for Conference USA. They're taking down FIU at home. So great to see baseball have a good weekend heading towards the end of their season. Making the conference tournament is going to be really tough, but just try to stack wins, take other teams out while you can. Softball, I want to jump into the bracket more. But first, I think the best way to start this off is just open up our conversation with head coach Jen Steele. We talk about the regular season. We talk about kind of the tough start of the year when they lost so much from 2025 and a battle-tested group that learned a lot about themselves as conference play started. So we'll jump into a conversation with head coach Jen Steele, and then we'll jump into the bracket and talk about it a little bit more. One of our first returning guests from when we started this podcast a few years ago, Delaware Softball head coach Jen Steele. Welcome back on Feathers and Field Goals. So thanks for coming on to talk about some Blue Hens softball and this crunch of a window from regular season to postseason.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks. I'm excited.
The 2026 season, let's start there. It feels like this group found its stride in its first season of Conference USA. How has 2026 been in your eyes from the start in Boca Raton in early February to where we are now?
Man, I tell you what, this has been one of the most challenging seasons of my career, but also one of the most rewarding because we have a very young team. We still have a young team because it's still the same year, although it doesn't feel that way because we're playing so much better now than we played to start the season. But yeah, we graduated a lot last year. We graduated leadership, we graduated seniority, impact players, just people who had played a lot of innings at the Division I level. And so coming into this season, there were so many positions and so many spots to be won, and it was unknown. I think at one point this year, we had 5 freshmen in the lineup. And Michael told me that the last time we had 5 freshmen in the lineup at once was 2019, which was my first year at Delaware.
My freshman year.
Yeah, I was like, I feel that on a deep level. I feel that it's been this long since we've been that young. So it has. It was how I would describe the season so far, and we're definitely not done yet. And I'm not one for moral victories. I'm not just happy to be in the tournament. I'm not just happy to have a first round bye. But I'm really proud of the growth, and I'm super proud of our student athletes and appreciate their buy-in. I appreciate their trust. I'm proud of our coaching staff. Our coaching staff works their tails off to develop and to adjust and to problem solve. And just together this year as a unit, we've matured a lot. I would say both the student athletes and the coaching staff, and together that adaptability is why you're seeing us play our best softball late in the season.
I also think the non-conference play was battle-tested. I just talked about Boca Raton. You played against really tough teams down in Florida to start. Indiana, Army is a tough team, Florida Atlantic being the host, and then got over to Tampa to play South Florida. And then in some other tournaments as well, got to play against Maryland, Ohio State, which were fun non-conference wins. So this team got battle-tested early. You said youth, but the youth was kind of thrown into the fire to face some tough competition early non-conference play. Do you think that really helped that it was coming for this team in a little bit? It's like we've played some tough opponents. It's going to click once we get into conference play.
Yeah, yes and no, meaning I don't know if I totally knew it was going to click. I was hoping that it would, but that was the intent the whole time, was that we just knew that the jump from the CAA to Conference USA was vast. I think the CAA was like 23rd, 24th in RPI. Conference USA was 8th. We knew we had graduated so much production, so many starters, so many innings pitched, and we knew that we didn't want this false sense of confidence early in the season. So there's 2 trains of thought as a coaching staff, right? Like you can say, let's get some wins under our belt, let's gain some confidence, and let's have that drive us into hopefully being prepared for Conference USA. There's that train of thought. And then there's the train of thought of, let's face reality. It's going to get ugly. It's going to get sticky, but we're tough enough between the ears that we can adjust and we can adapt. And I would say that's more along the lines of where our staff falls. And so, that was the goal. And we were battle tested. We had some good wins. We had some really ugly losses, but I do think that we kind of had to go through it in order to find what was necessary to be consistent in league play.
I want to break it up positionally first with the hem pen. In the past couple of years, more than that, Emily Winburn, Morgan Hess, Billy Kerwood was strong at the top. And heading in 2026, Josie Crossman was the only returning arm from last season's staff. Claire Woods, midseason transfer from MTSU. Kylie Wilkerson arrived from George Mason. And Carly Chalberg from Houston, Texas, as a freshman joined the program. This staff has been fun to watch and develop throughout the season. All 4 members have made 27 or more appearances on the year. Is this the most balanced staff in your time in Newark? How is it like having depth like this?
For sure. It's definitely the most balanced staff. I've never had this many options. That makes it easier and harder in a lot of ways. So I feel like for me, and matchups and lineup and who's going to go, who's starting, who's in relief, I've had to get a lot better at that this season, because in the years past, I knew who was going game 1, game 2, and game 3. And it was easy. And they were going to throw until their arm fell off, right? Because we only had a few arms to go to. But this year, it's been fun because we play the matchup game, right? We can get deeper into the analytics. We can look at what the batting average against lefties is. We can look at, are they a team who handles the down ball well? And if not, then Kylie should go. Is the wind blowing in? Is the wind blowing out? Who gets more fly balls? And so having all of those options has been nice. It has been challenging because there's a rotation. So there hasn't necessarily been someone to totally take it and take it all the time. Now, Josie's definitely gotten the most innings for sure. And, push comes to shove, game on the line. We probably more than often give the ball to Josie, but it's definitely been an equal balance. And that has been fun. And I think our defense is finally starting to play consistently behind all 4 arms. That was a challenge early on, was for the defense to learn so many different tempos and rhythm and what do they need? How's the ball come off the bat when this girl is going versus that girl? And I think we finally have found our rhythm there.
The bats first. I want to start with the two freshmen because you talked about the youth. Let's start with the youth who stepped in from day one in crucial positions. Allie Nankiville, he was hitting 408 in conference play, which is tied for fourth overall in CUSA play, providing speed and slap hitting at the leadoff spot. And Maddie Diamond at third base, which a great name for softball, is third in Conference USA with 10 home runs and 15 on the season. What have those two meant in being passed the torch, making a heavy impact early?
Man, they're pretty special student athletes, and they're going to be really good in this program. They've had an incredible freshman year, but I think to be so young and to make an impact talks about how special you really are. And for Allie and Maddie, they're both really elite at their crafts. Like Allie's foot speed is so difficult to defend. There's that saying, speed never slumps. And that's true, because if she hasn't gotten on, she's going to drop the bunt once a game. She's going to be safe. And so, for her long-term development, like we're going to work to have her stand in and swing a little bit more, drive the ball. She's starting to she made some really good contact this weekend against Western Kentucky and hit the ball pretty hard, I would say, with like deeper slaps than she has been throughout the course of the regular season. And so long term for her, I just see her having like Hannah Garber impact, and Hannah Garber was one of the best to ever do it in the blue and gold. And, she started as a slapper with speed, who was an excellent bunter. And by her fifth year, she was standing in and dropping home runs left and right. And so I do see that sort of development for Allie. She's also turned herself into a pretty good center fielder, into a good defender. She's finally has that confidence after playing, starting there all the regular season, to be able to dive for balls in the alley. She knows where the fence is. She knows what her range is compared to her corner outfielders. So she's had a great season. And then Maddie is super special. She's kind of one of those high energy, heartbeat type of athletes that you have on your team. Like she's the pulse in a lot of ways, super fiery on defense. She's leaving her feet, diving all around, making great plays. The pitchers love playing beside her. And then offensively, her progression from the beginning of the year until now has been really impressive. She worked really hard at strike zone management, knowing what she could get to, know what she couldn't, what she shouldn't swing at early in the count, started really limiting her strikeouts from early on Division I pitching. She was all or nothing, and now she's hitting for a much stronger average. And so the two of them, hopefully they play well this next week, but they're going to have two really good careers here at Delaware.
I want to shout out Gianna Castera really quick. She's been fantastic in conference play, hitting 347, working through that injury in the offseason, and with a lot of pop recently as well. But I have to ask about the two who will also be joining the show, Katie Scheivert and Sydney Shaffer. What have those two meant to you, and the large legacy that they're going to leave in this program? Them two and Kristen, members of the most winningest senior class in Delaware softball history.
Man, if you would have seen me on senior day, I'd have been bawling, right? Because I was so emotional thinking that we're graduating that class. Katie and Sid and Kristen have been so consistent throughout their careers, and they've all played different roles for us, right? Like Katie has started every game since she's been here in Newark, and she has just been a mainstay for us and is gritty and consistent. And when you can play that many games and have as much success as she's had, that doesn't go without a lot of commitment and a lot of work. And this season, she's really turned herself into a good leader. She's a captain, and she's been able to navigate dynamics with her teammates and with our coaching staff, and she's found her voice. So that's been super, super helpful and nice to have. Kristen, coming off of the bench, you always have a great opportunity to drive the ball. Teams are worried about her. Pitchers miss because she steps in and her swing is so good. And so we know that we always have a great option for her to come off of the bench, and to see her grow into that role last year and to really find comfort was one of the cooler things for me to witness as a coach. And then Sydney, I can't talk enough about Sydney, so I won't even try. But what Sydney's been able to do for 2 seasons in a row is remarkable. And I don't know what Conference USA awards are going to come her way right now, but what I will say is this: for her to hit, I think she's hit 15 home runs this year, maybe. I don't know, 15, yeah. 16. Okay. She had 19 last year, right? We're facing a lot better pitching, and she set the single season walks record this year. When you walk that much and you still hit a lot of home runs against better pitching, that's an elite hitter. And so, the progression of Sid from freshman Sydney to senior Sydney is something that I'm so proud of. And she's a great kid. She's a great human. She's going to be a great teacher. I wish I could keep her here forever, but her parents keep telling her to come home to Virginia. So I understand the Schaffers want her home, but if I can keep her forever, I will.
Delaware Athletics move to Conference USA has so many positives. So the transition to it, though, blocked the program from being able to host the tournament as one of the top seeds in the last couple of years in the CAA. Does it feel good to stay home for this one? I know we talked about it before hitting record, but it's felt like a long time coming for it to be in Newark.
It has. It has felt like a long time coming, and it is really cool to be like, okay, we're here. We have comfort. We know what to expect with everything. We know how the facility plays. We know what we get in our weight room. We know what's in our training room. We know what food to order. We're not like caught in between things, or if we just want to go to the dining hall, we can. So having that consistency is really nice. But I think too, for us, like, we play well at home. We've done a good job down the stretch at home. Our team takes a lot of pride in playing well in front of their own fans. And so I'm excited about that. And I'm just excited because we're playing our best softball. So, the side of the bracket we're on, it's going to be hard no matter who you get, no matter who you face. It's not an easy road. But yeah, I'm pumped up. I'm excited.
Winning last weekend's series against one of the league's best, Western Kentucky, was shown to be a crucial one, as it helped the Hens stay a game above any tiebreaker scenario to finish top 4 in Conference USA with that first round bye. Of course, now you have the bracket in front of you. What's the focus on preparation from now to when you take on the winner of New Mexico State and Sam Houston, which will be New Mexico State was a recent opponent. Sam Houston would be a new one. What's the preparation on that game 1 for Wednesday evening?
Well, I mean, right now we're getting eyes on Sam Houston. So we're preparing a scout for them because we didn't prepare one during the regular season because we didn't have them. So I would say a lot of our energy last night and today is making sure that we're comfortable with them, as well as like getting eyes on them in game 1 on Wednesday. So we'll be in person watching them. As far as our team prep goes, it's hard because you can't prepare for both. New Mexico has Faith Aragon. She probably is going to be the pitcher of the year, maybe the player of the year. She is elite. I like our chances against her from how we played in New Mexico. Right now, she is the best to do it. I thought that we handled her really well. And so we had really good strike zone management. We didn't chase out of the zone. We made quick adjustments. We didn't have that rhythm game 1, but we definitely found it game 2, game 3. We left the yard a lot. So I like that matchup. I feel like we know how to potentially throw to their offense and how to manage it on the defensive side too. But with Sam, I like that matchup as well because they haven't seen us yet. And I think what I have noticed during the regular season, and I don't know if this will be true in conference play, probably won't be because I'm hoping that it will be, is that game 1, a lot of people struggle with knowing what to expect from us because they don't have a history of playing us. There's this unknown with our team, right? Like, you don't know the style of play. You can prepare for Josie as a lefty, but what if we throw Claire and she throws tons of changeups? Our offense is balanced. We have a combination of speed and power. So if you play us too tight, our power hitters are going to stand in and drive the ball. But if you back up too much, we're going to swipe some bags and we're going to create some chaos. So I do like our chances against teams who have never seen us, just because at times it feels like they're on their heels and we can jump out to an advantage. So I don't know. I wouldn't say I want one of them over the other. I wish everyone would just, like fall over when they play us and it would be an easy path, but that's not going to happen. Right. So we're going to have to play our best softball.
Well, I'm so excited for this tournament. It's been some time, Coach, but I wanted to extend my congratulations on the new addition to your family from last July. I hope the newest Blue Hen recruit is healthy and happy and doing well this spring.
He's great. He's massive. He's almost big enough to get in uniform. It'll be 10 months on the 15th of this month. And so it is pretty cool having both of my boys around the team. Steele is now 3.5. He'll be 4 in August. And we have like a hen pal program, and he is like in that program. And Maddie Diamond is his pen pal, and it is super cute. They awesome. She writes some notes, and he makes her pictures. And so it has been pretty cool having my kids around. And, the female coach in me loves the fact that my sons are growing up with like female athlete role models. So I think it's pretty cool. Awesome. And they're fantastic with my family. Our team is wonderful.
That's awesome. Congrats on that. That's awesome. And thanks again for joining us again, and best of luck in the Conference USA tournament. It all starts with that first one on Wednesday night. So excited.
I know. Got to get game 1. Thank you so much for having me.
Yep. Thanks, Coach. So there's our conversation with head coach at Delaware Softball, Jen Steele. Super excited about this. And let me share the bracket right here as I have it. So game one, we'll be watching against New Mexico State and Sam Houston. The winner of that will be playing against the Hens on Wednesday night. And as we just said, it's so big for the Hens to get that first one. Every time they're the 1 or 2 seed in the past couple years CAA, that first or second game, it changes your path so much when getting to later in the bracket, and especially in this, unlike some of the other brackets maybe we've seen in the past, that top four was so big to get that first bye. 5 through 8, if they lose, they're done. That's a straight elimination game, which also I think plays in Delaware's favor because New Mexico State is one of the best pitchers in the conference, as we just talked about, and she's going to have to go game one. So she can come back in the same game for game two, but at least there's a lot of pitches on her from that day. So excited to see Jack State as the 1 seed had a fantastic season. Their baseball season's doing well as well. Of course, their football was great. They've never played Delaware in the regular season either. So this whole upper half of the bracket, the bottom half, Liberty and Louisiana Tech beat Delaware 2-1 in series earlier in the year, both road. And then FIU and Western Kentucky, both home series, Delaware won 2-1. The top, Sam Houston, if that's who Delaware plays first, did not play. Jacksonville State did not play. So as much as Delaware is going to have to learn these new teams as they get there, if Sam Houston wins and they get that first one, they're going to have to learn Delaware too. So I like the path a lot, how it worked out that way. That win, that second game against Western Kentucky to get that win of the series, cleared New Mexico State from them after they lost their first 2 to Missouri State. And that was the difference between the 4 and 5 seed. It was Delaware winning 2 in the last weekend and New Mexico State only winning 1. And tiebreaker wouldn't have went Delaware's way, so they are not an elimination game to start off as hosts. So the pressure isn't instantly there, but the pressure's still there to get your first one. To get your first one sets up, you have to win. It looks down there. You have to win 3 games to make it to the championship from down there. Where if you can win, it's 3 games both up and below and top, but the path is there for more of a rest in the Conference USA tournament. So, Coach Steele, thanks for joining. And now we're going to get into our interview with Delaware seniors, Sydney Shaffer and Katie Scheivert. So let's get into those now. Super excited to have 2 of the 3 members of the winningest senior class in Delaware softball program history, Katie Scheivert and Sydney Shaffer. Big thanks to you both for making some time in between the short window of the regular season and postseason to come on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Well, let's just start it out quickly. In reflection of the 2026 regular season, first season for the Blue Hens in Conference USA, how do you both feel how regular season play went for the program?
Yeah, I think good. I think we had a little bit of a slower start than we wanted, but over time we got to work together better on the field, and we're coming together as a team and seeing the results that we want to see.
Yeah, for sure. Towards the end of the season, we really started to gel as a unit, and we were able to perform really well. So I think continuing that into postseason will be really important.
The win streak got up to 11 towards the back end of the season, and it came at a necessary time to create some padding from not just the playoff line of only 8 of 12 making the conference tournament, but a necessary push to get above that top 4 line and a first round bye. What was working so well in that stretch you guys talked about in kind of a mid-season shift? What kind of led into that?
Yeah, I think just as a team, we were kind of just we were just thinking like we're refusing to lose, going pitch by pitch, working together on the field. And I think that just kind of worked for us. So we just stuck with that throughout our games.
Yeah, I also think before the season and even during the season, we focused a lot about our togetherness and our focus on our team and how we support one another. And I think when things got tough, we really leaned on that and learned how to really be there for each other and, bounce off of each other. And I think that helped us get through that rough patch and into the success that we had late.
The transition to Conference USA has a lot of good for the university from top to bottom. There's a lot of quality opponents. It feels like the schedule, it was a tough opponent every single weekend for you guys. What other adjustments were there? How has the travel been for you both? You played the two farthest teams in the conference in New Mexico State and UTEP. That's a lot of air miles on the season.
Yeah, it's definitely something different, definitely something to adjust to, especially with the time change. But I think, it was incredible. We got to see new places across the country, but we didn't let that affect our play. And that was our goal as a team, I think.
Mm-hmm. I know we did talk about going into this year how every weekend is going to be a hard weekend. So we have to prepare for that mentally, like with our practice plans. Like we were prepared to face the best every single weekend. So I think that helped in our preparation. And then, I don't think we were really accounted for the amount of travel that we had. Like we were just like, oh yeah, we'll hop on a flight. But it was like a 12-hour travel day at times. Like I don't think we could have prepared for that.
How has being a leader felt? You both started as freshmen and working as underclassmen your way up. How does it feel to really pass the torch and be the faces and being the captains of the team?
You got that one.
It definitely, we came into this year, there were no returning captains. So me and Sid were kind of pushed immediately by the coaches, and we just needed somebody to look for that has been here for the past 4 years and has seen the field a bunch. So, we just kind of jumped into it. I think it's been great having the opportunity to help lead the team, help with all of the things that we've been working on, like the culture and turning this, even though we're in the new conference, CUSA, remaining a winning program.
The exit from the CA unfortunately took away opportunities for the program from hosting conference tournaments the past couple of years. I'm happy that the athletic department pushed within the conference to host the softball CUSA tournament in its first season, not just award the whole program, but you two for your hard work that you've given the school in your careers. Are you happy to finally be playing at home for postseason play for a change?
Definitely. Have our fans sleep in our own beds, have our facilities, our staff here. It's definitely something we've wanted over our past 4 years. So I think we're both really thankful that it's happening at least once, and especially our last year.
Yeah, we were just talking about it this morning, actually, how we've never hosted. So it's been different.
Yeah. That New Mexico, I guess that was the longest trip. And then now you finished home against Western Kentucky, which proved to be a big series because I guess going into the season, I didn't realize that top four was going to get that first round bye, it's crucial to set yourselves up for an extended time, a little bit more of a padding in case one doesn't go your way early. So I'm sure it feels good to finish the year at home and finish your senior careers the way it did at home in that big series. What do you two mean for each other? I always see you guys. If you guys are best friends, what does it mean playing with you two the past few years?
I think we were just both lucky enough to come in and end up being best friends, and not on the field playing together, but also best friends outside of softball, living together. So I think it's just something that I've been super lucky to experience throughout my college experience, and I could never say thank you enough.
Yeah, I think it's pretty special. We don't think about it at all, really, but people come up to us and be like, how cool is it that you and Sid have been here for 4 years and you guys are still best friends? You guys finished out at Delaware. So as much as we don't think about it, we hear about, how rare it is, how special it is. And it's amazing. I picked Delaware and I never thought that this would happen. So it's been amazing.
You'll think about it later on. You don't have to focus about it right now. You can just focus on the tournament. But you both have had a lot of accolades to your names in your Blue Hen careers, both all conference awards, regional awards, academic awards, program records. Sydney, we could do a full podcast to talk about your program records set single season. But I know you both are focused on game number 1 Wednesday evening, but a quick reflection question as well. What have been some of your favorite moments? We just talked about the two of you together, but just favorite moments, games, experiences representing the Blue and Gold.
I'd say for me, I think, especially coming to a new conference, I think a lot of people underestimated us, but coming out the first weekend and taking the series from FIU, and then just proving to everyone in Conference USA that however our season started wasn't what we really were, and turning that around this season is definitely something I feel like I'll always remember.
I feel like I just have so many good memories that I don't even know if I can pick a top one. I do think we had a lot of really unique team experiences this season that I haven't had in the past 3 years here that have been super fun. I remember we performed Africa in front of our coaches, just silly things like that we haven't done before, and just like culture wise and the team, like again, we're all just gelling really well, and it's really special.
Well, the Deer softball videos online made me a little emotional. So, and I'm not even a part of the locker room. So, again, I don't want to jump the gun and focus on the CUSA tournament as well, but plans after this year. Looking at your bio, Sydney, you're an elementary education major, Katie sports management. What's next for you both after graduation?
I'll be going home and being a kindergarten teacher back home.
Nice.
And then I'm going to get my master's at Villanova and work a little bit with their softball program.
That's awesome. Congrats to you both. Sydney, my wife's a middle school teacher, so props to you. You guys don't get enough credit for that. So good luck to you both and congrats. And again, thank you both for coming on. Excited to see you both in Blue Hens uniforms one more time, hosting the CUSA tournament and on the Delaware Softball Diamond. Which, how cool is that? The Delaware Softball Diamond really grown from your freshman year to what it is now in the facilities there.
Yeah, it's incredible. It looks completely different. A bunch of alumni say it looks completely different and all these different things, and it really does. It's something that I feel like we both didn't see coming and we didn't know when we first came freshman year. So I think it's something really special to finish out our careers on that field.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing. We're super fortunate that we got to play on it on both ends. So it's been great.
Again, thank you both for joining. Make sure that trophy doesn't leave the 302 this upcoming week for the Conference USA tournament. So best of luck to you both this weekend and for the rest of your careers.
Thank you.
Thanks to both Katie and to Sydney for joining us. Two future University of Delaware Athletics Hall of Famers. I don't know how long it'll take, but they both were fantastic in their 4-year careers in the blue and gold. So fans, please come out to support the Blue Hens this weekend. This is a huge opportunity to finally get the first Conference USA championship, but being able to host us as fans can show not only should we host a softball tournament as often as possible, but other sports. So please show out, support the Hens. The first one is Wednesday night at 5:00. So if they win, they'll play a little bit earlier on Thursday. If they lose, they'll play an elimination game later on Thursday, but just keep winning, stay on the top half of the bracket as much as possible, and go Hens. We will, as far as the Feathers field goes, we'll get back to it soon. In the next week or two, all three of us should hopefully be on together to maybe recap all of Delaware athletics in 2025, 2026, the first year in the new era. But for now, all eyes are focused on the Delaware Softball CUSA tournament. Thanks for joining us for another episode here at Feathers and Field Goals, and we'll see you next time.